You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day, we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is Thursday, May 9th, 2019. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story of the day is from investing.com. It's the top 5 things to know in the market on Thursday. The first thing to know is trade talks start after Trump says China broke the deal. 2 days of high-level trade negotiations between China's Vice Premier Liu He and U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin will kick off on Thursday amid escalating tension. U.S. President Donald Trump announced this week that tariffs on Chinese imports will be increasing on Friday because negotiations were going too slowly and Beijing was not fulfilling commitments. At a late rally in Florida on Wednesday, Trump insisted that China broke the deal and promised that the U.S. won't back down until China stops cheating our workers and stealing our jobs. China's Commerce Ministry responded that escalation of trade friction was not in the interest of the two countries or the world, but promised to retaliate if the U.S. moved forward with increased tariffs. Trade tensions overshadowed Chinese inflation data released overnight. The Consumer Price Index accelerated at its fastest pace in 6 months in April as a growing swine fever epidemic pushed up pork prices. Prices at the factory gate also rose at the fastest pace in 4 months, boosted by higher commodity prices. The second thing to know is trade tensions keep a tight hold on global stocks. Global stocks declined for a 4th consecutive session Thursday as the trade standoff between the U.S. and China convinced market participants to take risk off the table. Chinese shares led the decline, with the Shanghai Composite closing down 1.5%, while Japan's Nikkei 225 was off 0.9%. European shares, as measured by Euro Stoxx 50, also declined around 1%. The third thing to know today is Disney slips despite an upbeat report. Although Walt Disney reported better than expected numbers on the top of bottom lines after the prior market close, shares dipped 0.2% in pre-market trading. Theme parks helped in the quarter, and the company is now riding high on the success of Avengers Endgame and on expectations for its new streaming service, Disney+. Despite the positive numbers, much of the good news was already priced into the stock, which has risen more than 17% in the last month. With 85% of the S&P 500 firms having reported earnings, the season has not turned out as dire as feared. Not even close to an earnings or sales recession this quarter, as many, not us, predicted, analysts at the Earnings Scout noted. Before Thursday's opening bell, Duke Energy, Cardinal Health, and Keurig Dr. Pepper will report results. The fourth thing to note today is Fed Chair Powell is to speak alongside inflation data. How do you speak alongside inflation data? Federal Reserve Chairman Jeremy Powell will speak ahead of trading with markets on the lookout for any hints towards plans for monetary policy. Powell will give the opening remarks at a Fed conference on renewing the promise of the middle class in Washington at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. The conference begins as the Producer Price Index for April hits the wires along with weekly jobless claims. Prices at factory gates are expected to tick higher on an annualized basis. The Fed cited muted inflation as one of the key reasons for its expectations that it will not hike rates this year. Policymakers will have more insight with Friday's release of consumer inflation data. Chicago Fed President Charles Evans will speak at the same conference at 1:15 p.m. Eastern. At 10:45 a.m. Eastern, Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic will discuss monetary policy and the economic outlook at the Louisiana Bankers Association's 119th Annual Convention in New Orleans. And our fifth thing to know today is Uber is set to price its IPO. Uber is expected to price its long-awaited initial public offering after the market closed on Thursday. Although the ride-hailing company had set its expected range last month at $44 to $50, people familiar with the matter told the New York Times that it would set the price at or below the midpoint, or $47 a share, valuing the company at roughly $86 billion. That's below the $100 billion that Uber had forecast last month, but the price tag still tops the $76 billion valuation at its most recent private fundraising last August. That price would make it the largest IPO since Alibaba in 2014 and the largest by an American company since Facebook in 2012. Our second story today is from investing.com. As tariff hike looms, China asks the U.S. to meet it halfway and denies backtracking. China appealed to the United States to meet it halfway to salvage a deal that could end their trade war with its chief negotiator in Washington for 2 days of talks, hoping to stave off U.S. tariff hikes set to be triggered on Friday. The two sides had appeared to be converging on a deal until last weekend, when U.S. President Donald Trump announced his intention to raise tariffs with his negotiators, saying that China was backtracking on earlier commitments. The U.S. side has given many labels recently, backtracking, betraying, etc. China sets great store on trustworthiness and keeps its promises, and has never changed, Commerce Ministry spokesman Gao Feng said on Thursday. Gao told reporters in Beijing that it was normal for both sides to have disagreements during the negotiating process. Our final story today is from investing.com. Pressured by rival, Chevron walks away from Anadarko takeover fights. Chevron Corp abandoned its pursuit of Anadarko Petroleum Corp on Thursday, outmaneuvered by a higher rival bid of $38 billion that included more than 3 times as much cash. The decision leaves Occidental Petroleum Corp as the likely victor in a contest that again proved the allure of U.S. shale. Anadarko's board had considered Chevron's $33 billion bid superior to Occidental's initial offers, pointing to a signed agreement and joint planning meetings. Chevron's finance chief signaled the company would be able to put more cash into its existing offer. But that did not happen. The number 2 U.S. oil producer now stands to receive a $1 billion breakup fee. Winning in any environment doesn't mean winning at any cost, Chevron Chief Executive Officer Michael Wirth said. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, May 9th, 2019, your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli, trade smart, and have a great day.
The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in options trading education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's Live Advantage Group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.